go. Cheers. Episode 19.
Episode 19
Yes.
on leadership. Here we are, our lesson.
Our lesson session.
I have to apologize again for my voice. I really do feel okay. It's just the clucky voice. Clucky? I don't think clucky's the word. I know, I'm really fine. And I've been on the antibiotic forever. I don't have a fever. It's just the sound.
Yeah.
I just can't get rid of it.
But I feel like everybody who has this thing is saying that. It's like weeks.
And it just won't go away. I mean,
you can rest, you can not rest, you can work out, you can not work out, you can everything. It just,
it just sounds bad. So it's just what it is. You've got the yucky sound. So,
but we are determined.
We are persevering through
God called
on
us
leadership
because we're leaders and this is what we do.
That's it. So leadership lesson. This is a good one.
This is like, I'm so happy.
Yeah, it's a fun one. I was like, oh, this one's easy. And not because we have it right.
No, not at all.
But it's something we just know.
And it also feels a little bit more like, I don't want to say manageable because that's funny, but like it feels more like, okay, at least this is what I do every day. And I have funny, terrible things that I do that are stupid. And, you know, I have tons of mishaps and I can laugh about them, but I've sort of processed them already. Like persevering I was like, no.
Yeah. No, I know. I agree. Leadership was just fun to study more, and I was like, "Oh, I can like this." And I could just do the LifeWork curriculum. There it is. That LifeWork curriculum. I'm done.
I did. That's exactly what I wrote.
So that was just an easier study because it's something we do. So,
all right. Well, you start because this is your. I got to do financial stewardship. This is brought to you by LifeWork Leadership.
By LifeWork Leadership.
And so, you know, you are the queen of.
So lots of verses on leadership. I tried to just kind of hone in on two. Matthew 20:26, whoever wants to be a leader among you must be your servant. We know that one. Mark 10:45, but whoever would be a leader or whoever would be great among you must be a servant of all.
Wait, Mark what?
Mark 10:45
and
Matthew 20:26.
Okay.
So those are the two main ones of like, to be a leader, you have to be a servant, which we know that. But I had the really cool opportunity back when I was a professor at Southeastern to teach an intro course on leadership. It was like Leadership 101. And it really was a study of leadership, like the history of leadership. And so it's interesting because it's now trendy. Like when we talk about leadership, everybody's like, I want to be a leader. And leadership's trend. It's just very trendy. The word leader has been around forever. But the word leadership is relatively new. It kind of came around in the 1800s.
I didn't know that.
And so it comes from the words, which I went back to my notes from the class that we taught. Laden, which is to guide, and skyup, I'm sure I'm saying it wrong, a state or a condition. So leadership is a state or a condition of guidance. That's kind of what it came from.
That.
It started, the word leadership came around in the 1820s. There's a really cool graph that I had used in the class that in the 1800s, you couldn't find the word leadership in any book or platform 0 times.
Really?
But by 2019, it was used 50 million times. So from the 1800s to 2019, this became a trend of just what's good leadership. And we went through like phases of leadership. So it really kind of started tribal, like, and it was a survival.
Okay. My book right there, see, it says tribal leadership.
Tribal leadership. So that's kind of where it started. Like when you go back to the original ones, it was meant tribal. Then it became military. So it was like a survival, like who is a good leader.
Okay.
Which
then there was the book Winning Under Fire.
Look at that. See, all your leadership. We could have a book per transition of leadership.
Yes.
So tribal, then it was military, then it shifted in the 1900s. It was called the Great Man Theory. And this was really when leadership developed like their specific traits. So they kind of shifted to if you have this trait and this trait and this trait, you're going to be a good leader.
Oh, okay, got it.
And so some of those traits became natural born. Like you were just born with that trait and so you're born to be a leader. Other traits can be acquired. You can learn that specific trait. So they developed this whole, it was called the Great Man Theory, and it was this really big study. And then it fell apart because what they realized was that there are different traits that are required in different situations. So for example, charismatic, like a charisma was part of the Great Man Theory, that they said if you have great charisma, you can be a great leader because people will follow you because you're charismatic. Until you're in war and
Yeah.
You don't need charisma to be a leader of war. You need a different type of strength. But a charismatic person, you don't want them in the bunker with you. You want somebody that's like,
somebody cracking jokes.
You know, right. So, I mean, they realized that these characteristics that we said were leaders, in some cases are great, but in other cases, so then the traits became different. So that whole idea of trait leadership kind of fell by the wayside.
Okay.
And so
That's
then we
cool.
went into transactional leadership. Are we on?
Yes.
What are you looking
Keep
at?
talking. Someone's calling.
Is it an important call? Do we need to take it on air? Do you want to do an on-air
No,
call?
it's Rodney, and he would love to be on the podcast.
Oh, let's call him and put him on
We're
air.
not going to because I think it stops our video.
Oh, does it?
I think so. Keep
That's
talking.
really funny. So then we went to transactional, which was very
Yeah.
much, if I do this, then this.
Okay.
And that became
Yeah.
very corporate. That's kind of the leadership we knew about in old corporate America,
Mm-hmm.
like top-down mentality of leadership. If I can just get to the top,
Yeah.
I'm the greatest leader because I made that.
Yeah.
Not that I'm good
Yeah.
at it, but I got there. And so
Okay.
it became very transactional.
This is when? Sorry.
This was 1900s.
Okay.
Then we got into transformational, which was very much of like relational.
Yes.
Which is
now
great.
we have Love Them and Lead Them. is
That's
that
right.
book.
See, that got to that book, Love Them and Leave. So we got very transformational. Then we got into servant leadership, which was very
yeah.
much of like,
That's
I just need to be a servant to lead, which we landed in the servant leadership
Yeah.
for a while. We've been
Yeah.
in servant leadership. You'd talk to people in the leadership industries and they'd be
Yeah.
like, servant leadership's the
Right.
way to go. However, it's changing.
Ah, interesting.
And it's very interesting. So now we're in an influence leadership. And so it's very much of now that we're on social media
Yeah.
and Hollywood that who we call great leaders are those that have great influence. They may not actually have any traits or any qualities or any skills, but because they're an influencer, they're in Hollywood or they're on social media or
That's so true.
they're now considered a leader even
Yeah.
though they don't have any skills. So we've crossed over from servant leadership, which was very trendy for a while, to this influential leadership
How
now.
is it, like, think about that. Like your city council thing,
School board.
school board, like you couldn't do it without social media.
Right.
You have to be an influencer.
You have to be an
Doesn't
influ-
matter what you're
Which
saying.
is really funny because when I was talking with somebody the other day about finding a campaign manager, they said, if they come at you and the first thing they say to you is we need to do mailers and we need to do door knocking, run from them.
Yeah.
Because that's old school. And the
Right.
only way you're going to win now is with social
Oh,
media.
yeah, for sure.
And I was like, oh, I don't do social media.
Right. Here
Clearly,
you
look
go.
at us. We're
Right.
not
Exactly.
We're not in the digital
s-
influence
right.
world yet.
Right, clearly.
So, but
Yeah.
it's changing. And so I just thought
Interesting.
that was an interesting
That
history of
is.
leadership. It's very trendy. It's very new.
I wonder how that's going to, like the whole, stewardship part of leadership and, they're yours to take care of.
Right.
Like that was from the biblical
Right.
perspective. I wonder how this influencer thing is going to come up from the biblical perspective.
I don't know. I
Right?
don't know. I mean, but even just doing what we're doing on a podcast,
Yeah.
like our
This is
leadership,
influence.
Lord willing, is influencing the
Yeah.
people that are listening. So I feel like we would be held accountable for the words that we say.
Right.
Just because they're digital doesn't make them less
That's true.
truth. But I think the scary part is that you can instantly be leading or influencing millions of people, whereas before leadership was in my little world. I
Yeah.
could lead the people
Right.
that were in front of me. I could lead the people at my job. I could lead the people in my neighborhood. I could lead the people in my disciple group or my Bible study. But I only had X amount of influence, and it was within the people that I touched.
Yeah.
Now we have
Right, here we are.
millions
we have
and millions and
of
millions of
that
people
care about
watching
this.
Misfits. I mean,
this
so
is
we're
right.
leading the millions.
Yeah.
But I think
Interesting.
that's what's allowed people to now be an influential leader and leading, I mean,
Yeah.
globally.
Right. It's going to be interesting because, like we have to talk about the LifeWork
Yes, I
characteristics
have that.
because those are still going to apply to your influence.
Right.
Maybe more so.
We have a
Right.
guy, shout out, I don't think he listens, but we have a guy in LifeWork this year who is I'm going to butcher what he does, but what it is basically he realized that there are so many kids now who are not playing sports outside. Like they're not going to a ball field or a court, they're playing digital games. And he did a study on the influence of coaches and how impactful they are on
yeah.
students on the ball field. Like
Right,
when
right,
the
right,
parents
which is
can't
huge.
say anything, the
Yeah.
coach says,
Yeah.
that's not right, you don't spike your helmet when you strike out. And a coach can guide you and direct you.
Yeah.
Well, these kids are missing that influence. And now they're playing digital games, and there's no coaching in digital games. So there's now a whole new e-sport coaching where you take kids on digital sports and teach them coaching like you would a coach, but digital. Character development on esports.
Huh.
Who knew? But of course, I mean, that makes sense when he said it. Like,
it does.
I mean, my kids have been so impacted by their coaches. It's been a huge part of what they did.
Yeah, for sure.
And now kids aren't getting out as much and playing those sports. They're playing soccer on a game, but they've had no coach to teach them what the proper etiquette is and proper characteristics.
Think about how much you learn from their coaches. Oh my goodness.
So a whole new world. So I thought that was just an interesting background of leadership. So I thought I'd just start with that. Just my background. Then I went to biblical, which I think the biblical side of it is none of us are leaders.
Right.
Because we are all followers of Christ.
Right.
So any one of us as a follower of Christ who says I'm a leader, it's really
that's the
contradictory because we're not leaders. We are followers of Christ.
Right. I wrote, must follow as you lead, hardest part.
Yeah.
And it really is. I mean, it really is. If I don't pray first, I can't follow.
Right.
Like, I have to be obedient first. And that it's so easy to not apply that to leading. It's so easy to think, oh, I got here, I can do this. What? And so I think that
this is something I know. I've caught myself saying it on the campaign trail, like, education is what I know. Which it is, but I still am not, I have to follow Christ first. Even though it feels like it's an area that I'm knowledgeable.
Yeah.
That sounds so arrogant as I say, oh, well, that's what I know. And I'm like, well, that's not, I can't say that. Like, but you have to be confident. It's hard.
It is.
It's hard.
It is. It's very difficult. And I think the first thing you do in the LifeWork curriculum is worldview and calling.
Right.
And only then can you really start, I think, to lead.
Yep. Well, and that's what I put. We're all followers of Christ. We are never actual leaders of anything. We're not. We are stewards of whatever God chooses to give us. So if God gives me LifeWork, I'm really just a steward of LifeWork. I'm not leading it.
Doesn't belong to us.
I'm just stewarding it.
Right.
So I really don't lead anything. I don't lead my family. God gave me the family and I'm just stewarding my kids. So there really is no leadership. It's just stewarding what God gave you.
Yeah.
So we steward our influence.
This is so good.
See?
Maybe we meant this.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Did you say
prayer?
the same thing?
I wrote dependence on God. It's all His. Prayer and then obedience is all it's about. I put a check mark because
you have such little handwriting. That's amazing.
Really?
Look how big mine is compared to yours.
It's true. I use this little. Yeah,
I do too. I have the little dots, but yours are just. You have such great handwriting.
Thank you.
Very nice.
It's so nice of you to say something
You have
nice
such great handwriting. You're such a great leader.
Oh gosh, I feel so honored that you say something nice about me.
So funny. So funny. You too. You have very nice handwriting.
Thank you.
We steward our influence. We steward our position. We steward our power. And then I did the same thing. The whole LifeWork thing. We know God first.
Right.
It's the very first session. You have to know God.
Right.
Then you have to discover your calling.
Right.
So you know what you're stewarding. What's God called you to steward. Then we build relationships. So once we know what we've been called to steward, so, okay, I know God. I'm called to steward LifeWork right now. I'm called to steward my family. I'm called to steward this election. Like those would be the things in my life right now that I've been called to steward. To do those, I have to build relationships. I have to build relationships with the people at LifeWork. I have to build a relationship with my family. Yeah. Then we have to, through those relationships and stewarding, we steward them through compassion, generosity, integrity, humility. Those are those middle things. Those are the things we have to do. Then we have to have the courage, which is the next session in LifeWork, to bring the gospel into all of those arenas. So I have to bring the gospel into LifeWork, into my family, into my campaign. Like, so I have to have the courage. So our courage session is evangelism. I have to be able to bring that in so that I can leave a legacy. So literally the LifeWork journey is the map of leadership.
Yeah.
Go LifeWork. I didn't create that, but like,
but
as I walked through it, I was like, that's exactly what we need to do.
Right. I mean, I think, without knowing I was doing the LifeWork thing until after, I thought, you've got to know your calling. God initiates it, and waiting is part of that, right? And we've all been through part of that process of waiting to see, what is God calling me to? Is it different today than it was yesterday?
Right, and it changes.
Right, and it changes, and how am I growing? How am I being pruned? I mean, I think that's all. Nobody's going to follow you if you can't at least talk to where that's happened in your world.
Yep.
And then I put, manage what's God's, not ours, right? It's, whether it's people, whether it's resources, authority, it's not our stuff. We're entrusted with it, which goes back to this whole financial stewardship thing. Like, it's all so many of the same themes. It's, here we are, this all belongs to God.
Right.
I mean, I don't have anything to do with it. So I also wrote leadership costs. It bleeds before it benefits. And it's a sacrificial thing, right? I mean, we take on hard stuff as leaders and a lot of responsibility as leaders, just like you do in your marriage, right? It's sort of like I said today, we were working on something and I was helping a newer employee, and I said the people that were reviewing what we did, I said, if it's good, it's him. If it's bad, it's my fault, right? And I said it jokingly, but at the same time, I also meant it, right? I mean, it is my responsibility to say, I messed that up, and I didn't train him well enough, or I didn't set him up to be successful. So anyway, I thought we do bleed.
You do.
And that doesn't stop.
Well, and it's interesting when you think of it from a work perspective. Like, we talk about this in Misfits all the time, that this is really kind of us working, women working.
Yes.
And so we talk about leadership a lot in work. And I hear people say all the time, like, if I just ran my own company.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like every part of me wants to say, you have no idea. Like, there is a true benefit to just clocking in and clocking out and going to work and working for somebody.
Right.
The pressure is so, it's so much greater when it's your company and you're leading it, that it's hard to describe. You hear people just say, if I just had my own company, I would do this.
Right.
If I'm going to start my own business, I would do this. And I'm like, yes, there is so much benefit in having your own company and your own business. And you have to be wired that way. But there is also so much more pressure from the leadership side of things when you're the one in charge of everything.
Well, from the financial perspective.
Oh, yeah. Payroll. There's
you're not going to make payroll.
Heavy burden when you're like, I got you.
And it's not your payroll.
Right.
It's like, oh, crap. These people that are sitting around this table with me are going to go home and have to feed their families.
Right.
And, it's on me.
It's on me.
It's I don't think people realize, like, what that means.
I know I didn't until I had my first business.
Yeah.
Like, I always tell that story that when I was a teacher,
right,
we had a supply closet.
Oh, the paper clips.
And I would go in and just take the paper. Oh, they don't like this one, and it was stuck, and I would throw it away until it's your business, and you watch your staff throwing away paper clips, and you're like, wait a minute,
what am I doing?
That makes all the difference.
Yeah.
And so, it's different when you're leading a business. That's your own business. Yeah. It's heavy.
So outside of God, because you're a follower of Christ.
Yes, I follow Christ first, clearly.
Yeah, so he obviously made you a leader.
Right.
Who, most influential person that has taught you leadership, how you are today?
Yeah, that's great. I think there's a couple people that I look to.
You always have to just... you can make up your own word.
I do.
You can't just be black and white.
Each of these people have a different thing I've learned from them. They've had
you're allowed
perspective that I've learned from them. So I look at my mom and dad specifically, and I think I learned good parenting from them.
Yeah.
Which is a different skill set than what I use at LifeWork. So I have to look at my mom and dad and think, I learned so much from them on marriage and my biblical background and my parenting. They made you who you are, right? I look at them and I'm like, oh my gosh, they did it so well. And they had no support, no help, no background.
Yeah.
And God literally showed, so they are instrumental. Yeah. My Aunt Pam, which is funny, I don't even know if she listens to this, but she ran a business. She was a business lady in a world that I didn't see that much.
Yeah.
She ran her own business, and it was a Harley Davidson, her and my uncle.
That's
like
so cool.
very male
Yes.
kind of business. And I watched her navigate that, and without even realizing it, I think she was a leader to me on the business side of things.
Yeah. And told you that you could.
Right.
I mean,
and made
as an
me think,
example,
okay,
too,
like she is in this big
I could do
world,
that.
like, and
Yeah.
she's got, and she had success that I saw and thought, oh, I want that.
Yeah.
Like, and she still loved the Lord and had a good marriage and had good
Right.
kids. And I was like, oh, I can do
Right.
that. And so she was the first entrepreneur that I think I saw that clearly her leadership skills, I think from a distance, she never sat with me and taught me, but from a
Right. But
distance
just-
I saw.
Yeah. She influenced you.
She did. She
influential
influenced.
leadership at
Yep,
the time.
there it was at the time.
Early on.
I think my husband, when it comes to being a leader of integrity, I say this all the time, like he just lives out integrity in a way that very few people do.
Yeah.
He will not,
Doesn't bend.
he doesn't bend
Yeah.
ever.
That's
And
why
I
he has
bend
you, 'cause you bend the
I bend
rules.
all
Like,
the
we
time.
got
I'm like,
asked-
rules are made to be
Yeah.
broken, and he is not. And so watching how he has succeeded in life without bending the rules,
Yeah.
and he refuses to bend.
Right.
I
That's
would
cool.
say he is a leader that has taught me that. So I think more recently in LifeWork, I would say, I say this about you and Rodney all the time, learning how to lead a large organization that's faith-filled and financially sound. I never had that. So walking along you guys and learning how to do that, I would say you guys have done that. You have done that specifically.
Well, that's nice. Look at you being so nice to me today.
I'm sick.
So drugs.
I'm sick. So I can't
Yeah.
say there's been one. I think
Yeah.
there's been so many influences outside of obviously the Lord. There have been so many. So how about you?
I have one. No.
I have
'Cause
one.
I asked the question, but you made it sound so much
Yeah,
better.
no.
There's a lot of people
Yeah.
that have influenced me. And I just can't name them all.
They're just so many. I want to thank, it's like at the award ceremony. I'd like to thank my
I
mom
don't
and
have
my
time to read all
dad.
these people, but I asked for the most influential or the one person. And I do think, I agree with you. Like, I have to start with my parents because I feel like they created me and who I am and put things around me that were their friends that had their own businesses and were their friends that were entrepreneurs or that they're, but I think my dad was so I have to say my parents from a family perspective, but my dad from a business perspective, I mean, he really sort of, I think, laid into me the foundation of you work for them. And I don't even know if it was, he never said it in a biblical way.
Right.
But I
It was his
think
business model.
it was his, you work for them, and if they're not successful, that's on you. You work for them. If they are worried, that's on you. And just like it is your job to set people up to be successful, and successful isn't about results. It's about, it's about the experience that people are having. They're not just financial, right? It's faithfulness that you have to them to be set up to do the job that they're doing. And, no, that doesn't mean you don't have to fire somebody or that you don't have to do all those things that we do. But he said, you are the first stop, I think. So that was, I remember when I got my first person that I could manage, and I'm like, oh, I have a bomb and a half.
Right.
Right. Like, watch this, and I just could not believe how hard it was. I just could not believe how hard it was. All of a sudden, we were contemporaries, and then all of a sudden I was her boss, and it was like, oh my God, this is so complicated. So I think that was a big foundation. There are tons of people, really, including you, that have poured life work into me and all these kinds of things and challenged me and keep me accountable and all that stuff today that are probably different. But I think it started there with.
Well, and I
that.
think you can look at phases of your life and people that were in those phases that, I've learned from.
Yes, for sure.
So it's another trendy word, but a lifelong learner. Like,
Yeah.
I think you are.
For sure.
Because whatever phase you're in, there's somebody in that phase of life that should be teaching us how to do it better, or that we should be looking to on how to do
God
this
put
better.
those people?
And he does.
And if you're not paying attention to that,
Right.
I think you're not a true leader.
Right.
I mean, you can't, if you're not a lifelong leaner,
Leader?
if you're not a leaner, if you're not a lifelong leader, learner, then I think it's very difficult to lead, because if you have one idea and you decide that that's how it's going to go, who are you going to follow that's like that? No one. I mean, like God changes things all the time in our world. I mean, you read the Bible again and you're like, I never read that before.
I know. Well, and even as you do new things, like I keep stepping into this campaign world, and I thought, again, you go into it so. I didn't want to be cocky or arrogant. It's just you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So you think, oh, this is going to be easy. And then, shout out to Kelly Barrera, who has just walked with me. And the first couple of times she said stuff, there was a bit of me that was like, oh.
I don't know. Yeah.
And then as I've walked, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so smart. Like she just knows this world because she's walked in it. And so much that I can learn from her. So then you'd have to say things as things come up. There are going to be other people in my life that influence based on where I'm walking at that time.
And praise God that we can be open to
Oh,
that.
goodness. And you need it. I mean, and that they're willing to share.
Right.
Like, hey, this is what I learned. And,
I think one of the hardest things is like that is realizing
I don't know it all.
I don't have it. I was, we're reading. How's your Bible reading thing going, by the way, your chronological
My chronological is going well. And I do have to give a shout out to you because you're doing your chronological with your family. And I was jealous because I was like, well, I want to do it with my family. Yeah. So I reached out to all the ladies in my family.
Oh, good.
And I mean, they're all over the country.
Yes, yeah.
And so I went with like all my aunts, all the cousins, all the nieces. There ended up being like 30 of us.
Oh, wow.
And I couldn't do it in a text message. So I had to start a group me app. And we started doing our first Zoom. And I don't ever think, I honestly don't know if I ever laughed this hard trying to get my aunts. So so my mom's side, I did it my mom's side. So my mom, there's 5 sisters. And so they're from, 78 and I don't know how, maybe Pam's the oldest, 75. I don't know how old they are. And down. So there's 5 sisters.
Yeah.
Trying to get the 5 of them on Zoom. I just about was like, I don't know if I can do this now. I just don't know if I have the patience.
That is so
but we
funny.
did. We got on our first Zoom.
Oh, good for you.
And we started a group me app. And so it's so cool because like my one aunt, my Aunt Frankie, they've been missionaries their whole life. So like they're on this end of the spectrum.
Yes.
Then I have another aunt who is, she would say she got saved when she was 18, but she has never been discipled, never gone to church. She doesn't really know anything.
Right.
And then I have one cousin who, again, husband is a pastor. I have another cousin who, she was so sweet, and I hope she listens because I loved that she asked. Because we're like, okay, we're going to start in the book of Mark. And she was like, okay, where's Mark? And I was like, in the Bible. And she's like, there's a book in the Bible. And I'm like, the Bible is broken up of 60s. Like, so didn't. And I loved that. Like, I loved that she's willing to, like I'm step into this. And she's like, I'm not, and so we're doing it. So we had our first Zoom.
We had the same experience. We have somebody that has written, here are my takeaways from Job, and it's this long in a text message, and it's, Job and his suffering, Job knew God, and and I'm like, what? How did you get all that?
That's amazing.
Right? And then we have the other end of the spectrum with somebody saying, I cannot tell you how surprised I was when Joseph revealed his identity to his brothers.
Right.
And I was like, how amazing is all of this?
I'm really, really enjoying it.
And so we're doing it chronologically, but we finished Exodus. And I thought about Moses and his leadership and how God just takes care of you when you say, I don't think you're calling me to this.
Yeah.
And when you're humble like that, look what God can do.
What can God do? Mm-hmm.
But also that there's bleeding. Like that's where I got this whole he didn't actually get to do what God called him to do because he didn't listen.
Right, he wasn't confident enough, so God.
He didn't get to go into the promised land.
And he didn't get to go to the promised land.
And he got mad.
Right.
And he showed his temper. And didn't do it the way. And so
Yeah.
I just like, because we were doing leadership, I finished up this with that.
Well, and I mean, Moses' story of leadership with Jethro is, one of the ultimate ones that people talk about when you're leading, is how you have to delegate. You have to,
exactly.
I mean, you look
And
at
you
just
listen
that
to it,
concept
right.
in that story of Moses and his, father-in-law Jethro.
Right.
I leaned into Sean the other day with that. I was like, hey, because I'm in that chronologically. I'm like, I'm just saying, like, you feel a little overwhelmed, but maybe you need to just start building out some teams because you cannot hear them all. You cannot do them all.
Right.
So even just seeing the biblical construct of good leaders building teams is biblical.
Right. I know. I thought that was cool. And to listen to your father-in-law. Like, I mean, I like even that. It's like you're going out and finding wisdom. I mean, God sends his father-in-law to him, and they get to have this discussion. And his father-in-law goes, "Let me tell you." And Moses didn't have to listen.
I was going through the plagues the other day, which again, I mean, we've heard this story our whole life. I know the plagues. I mean, I don't know what about them struck me this time, and I thought, seriously, like
the gnats.
How big of an idiot can the Pharaoh be?
Yeah.
And if I was Moses and Aaron, I'd be like, Lord, really?
Right.
Like, we had to do another one? You want me to go back again and do frogs? And now you want me to do gnats? And now you want me to do blood? And I mean, I would kind of be like, seriously, can we be done with this already? Like, this is kind of annoying.
Yeah. And also, I'm sending you, but it's still going to be a no.
Right. I'd be like, come on, I'm done.
I did. I read those.
I know. It struck me this time. I was
listen, God, thank you for not doing me like that. Right? Like, most of the time, if God tells me to do something and I do it, it like goes how I think it's supposed to go, how he wanted it to go. He doesn't typically put me in a situation from a leadership perspective. We're going down this path. I mean, followers.
Right.
We're going to go down this path, and God's going to tell us no, but do it anyway.
And he's going to tell it to you 10 times.
Right.
He's going to say no, flat out. You're going to look like an idiot.
No.
10 times.
No.
I know.
Yeah.
God had to speak clearer back then.
I don't know.
Because I'm like, I would have been like, I'm done. Yeah. I'm not going back. Come on. This is getting ridiculous.
This is why you're not leading anybody up to the promised land.
Seriously. So I just got through that story this time. I was like, honestly, it's like the frogs, the gnats, the locusts, the blood, I was like, seriously.
Well, and then you have to go look at, okay, that was tied to this god, in Egypt had this god, and so it was a knock on that. But then there's the magicians who could do the same thing.
Well, the magicians did a lot. I was like, those are pretty good magicians. I mean, we don't have the magicians today that can get frogs to come up out of the Nile.
I know. I thought it was just so good to look at it as we were doing this.
Yeah, I thought so too. I just got through it. So
when are you done with Exodus? It's got to be coming up.
I'm a little bit different than you. I'm right smack dab in the middle of Exodus.
Oh, you are? Mm-hmm. We're starting Leviticus tomorrow.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I'm like,
I know all God's word is inspired, but I don't know if Leviticus is as inspired.
God breathed. I know. I counted between Leviticus and Numbers. There's 36 days. I'm like, okay, that's March, April.
Yeah, those are just tough. Yeah, I know those are just tough.
Anyway,
but we are doing our family group, which I'm thank you for doing that. It's been really, really fun.
That's good. I did,
enjoying it.
You're going to get to the, the whole tabernacle and what has to be done. And I thought, well, what I got this morning is God is in the details.
He is in the details. He definitely is.
He blessed that furniture and said, I'm going to use it for your purpose.
He definitely was in the details. The Old Testament is...
it was sort of fun.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. Good. I don't have anything else to add.
I just ended with, obviously, that all of this is to God's glory. All of our leadership is for God's glory. And then I loved the verse, Hebrews 13:7.
I always find good.
Remember your leaders who spoke the word of God to you. Consider the outcome of their way of life and imitate their faith. And I thought, what a strong verse when we're talking about finding leaders. Like when we find somebody that's doing it well, whatever that is, especially faith, but in anything, when you find somebody in a campaign that knows what they're doing, when you find somebody in finance that knows what they're doing, when you find somebody in whatever, as long as they're faith-based, remember your leaders who spoke the word of God to you. My thing just went quiet on me. I should memorize the verse so I would know it. Remember your leaders who spoke the word of God to you. Consider the outcome of their way of life and imitate their faith.
So that's influence.
That's influence. It's inspiring.
It is. That's influence and inspiration.
It is. We had
that's good.
We had a meeting yesterday with our global team at LifeWork, which is always fun when we're on a Zoom with people from all over. And they were talking about our value of authenticity. And he did a whole message on authenticity. Sorry, my nose. And he said, the topic, what we ended up getting into, which is interesting, is as a leader, you are supposed to confess up, not confess down. And so when you're authentic to your team, there is a level of authenticity that you really shouldn't share. And where is that line? You want to be vulnerable, you want to be open, you want to be authentic, you want to be genuine, but the rule of thumb is you want to confess up. So when it's something that's so vulnerable or a sin or a, you want to make sure you're confessing up.
Right.
Which I thought was an interesting, and it led down a big rabbit trail of, as a leader, because sometimes I think I can be almost too authentic. Like I'll share too much. Like,
Listen, I'm living that.
And so they really were like, you got to be careful with where you share and who you share with when it could be a stumbling block for somebody. So that was an interesting perspective.
Can we mishap about that?
Yeah.
Let's make that our mishap theme.
Okay.
Because I think there's like...
It was an interesting, especially I'm with all men. I'm the only girl.
Yeah.
So, men are not as vulnerable anyway. So there was a real,
But also, you got to find that person.
Yeah, exactly. Who are you going to confess up? I thought that was an interesting.
I like that.
Talking about leading and what I share and how I share and who I share with. Because sometimes I'll go into work, especially with like Marsha or somebody, and I'll be like, oh, today. And I'm thinking, I have to lead probably differently. Maybe not sharing quite as much of the vulnerable side of things with some of my staff. I don't know. It was an interesting. Tell us what you think. I thought that was just a
I like that.
last minute I put because we talked about it yesterday. It's worth a discussion.
Good. I know, that is. We can mishap about that because I know there's places I should have done stuff. Okay, cheers.
So leadership. Tell us your
Tell
thoughts.
us.
Good leaders.
Episode 19.